No pain, no gain. More ass than a toilet seat at a fucking bus station. And I was proud of it. How? Because I am. Most people don't want to get out of the comfort zone. They're comfortable. And the Netherlands is a great place to be comfortable at, you know. I know. I mean, I've been here since the early middle 90s. But see, I remember what Amsterdam and Rotterdam looked like in 1952 and 53. I was here then as well, as a little kid. Flat, bombed out. You could pick up Nazi war helmets in the rubble. Almost, this is an exaggeration, but almost as flat as this stage. When I was here from beginning of 52 to the end of 53. During the Korean War, my dad was an army officer, and he was able to bring his dependents here. We were stationed in France, but Berlin, I mean, most of Europe was flat. See, so I know what it looked like. I know what it looks like now. But the people that had the big, much more expanded comfort zones were your grandparents that fought the Germans. You know, and they had hard times. But I mean, you haven't fought anybody except your waistline. And most of you are losing that battle. You haven't done shit. You know, what do you want your legacy to be? Some of you don't even want to talk. It's another thing you don't want to talk about. What's your legacy going to be? You know, when I tell students and groups, if I were you, anybody in the audience, and I could see a 17-year-old kid, multimillionaire, flying in his fucking jet plane, I'd be embarrassed. Teenager, no education, homeschooled, one of 10 kids, in a fucking... How can you... I don't care how you justify. I don't care what bullshit you can tell yourself. You can't bullshit yourself enough to overcome a fucking teenage multimillionaire in his own fucking jet. You can lie to yourself from now until Christmas, and you can't bullshit yourself over that. And that's only one kid. I got a jillion of them. What are you going to do? Now, I say this metaphorically because my lawyers say I can't do it anymore. Most of you ought to just take a fucking thing, boom, blow the top of your fucking heads off, and then let Michael pray for you. Hungry for a better life, hungry for change, hungry for the tough love their parents didn't give them.
So is that what it needs? You have to be hungry, you need to feel the pain.
Growth only comes through pain. You probably don't have any athletes in the audience. But anyway, for those that have read about being an athlete, no pain, no gain. It's the same in life. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Dan Pena, Ted Turner, amongst a whole bunch of others, all had one thing in common. We all slept in our office the first 5 or 10 years of our business life. Slept in our office the first 5 or 10 years of our business life. Turner just gave his 75th anniversary party on CNN a few months ago. And he makes a couple of comments, and he says, number one, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody. It's how I lived, though. First 10 years of my starting CNN, I slept on my couch. I didn't have an apartment. Bill Gates slept in the office. Steve Jobs slept in the office. And I can go down a whole list. Now, these are super successful, mega wealthy guys. I slept in my office. Not everybody's willing to make that sacrifice. But it's not the only thing. But even if you don't sleep in your office, if you want to send your kids to a better school, if you want to be able to take care of your mother when she gets dementia, if you want to, this all takes money, not Zen. I never paid a bill with Zen.
Okay.
I never heard of anybody paying a bill with Zen.
But I would argue that once you have enough money to live or live reasonably well, that extra 10, 20, 100 billion dollars doesn't necessarily get you incrementally happier.
No, but it can make somebody else incrementally happier because you give it away. But if you don't ask, you don't get. As Bruce the Whipple, one of my great mentees, told me many, many years ago, actually, he's not the first person. I've been giving him credit for 25 years. But actually, Costa Gratsos, the CEO of Onassis Group, who was my mentor, told me, if you don't ask, Mr. Pena, you cannot get. So I used to carry that forward into my love life. If you don't ask, you don't get, right, guys? But rock stars got nothing on Dan Pena. I got more ass than a toilet seat at a fucking bus station. And I was proud of it. How? Because I asked. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And you've been taught all your life not to ask. I had 25 years ago when I first started teaching, coaching, mentoring QLA is that even though I had taken $800, turned it into 450 million, that's me. They look at my skill sets, my gift to gab, my presentation skills, and then they turn themselves off by saying, we're not Dan Pena, we're not going to be able to do that. So for years, I've been building up a cadre, and now we've got, this is not much of an exaggeration, from Forrest Gump, literally, fucking Forrest Gump IQ types, to 180 IQ. And the lower the IQ, the more money they make.
Explain that to people. Okay. They don't get that.
Okay. Guys like yourself.
Yeah, how come I can be successful then?
Okay, well, you could be a lot more successful if you had 30 points less IQ.
Explain that too.
Okay. This guy, everybody knows that you're a engineer, MIT, arguably, if not the best, one of the two best engineering schools, scientific type schools on the planet. Okay, and you're a graduate. I've checked. You actually graduated. You have a diploma.
You have checked. By the way, Dan checks everybody out with private investigators.
Whereas a lot of the guys out there that call themselves PhDs, etc., have no PhDs, or they bought it on the internet. But back to you.
Okay.
So you're an engineer by definition. Engineers are analytical. Okay, you get trained to be analytical, and quite simply, if you make a mistake, normally if you're building a bridge, you're building a rocket ship or whatever, a lot of people are going to die. It's not you, so you're trained to be safe.
Train us to be risk averse.
Correct, and risk averse, and
to get excited with all the details and the numbers.
Yeah,
it's like porn for us.
Yeah, and trained to spreadsheet things to death. Okay.
And what does that mean for people that don't understand?
Okay, overanalyze it, analysis, paralysis by analysis.
Which means you don't have to pull the trigger.
Correct.
You can just analyze it all day.
Yeah, just because you hit the send button or enter button on the computer, doing the numbers again, that's not taking action. So you overanalyze, you study things, you think of all the possible permutations, all the possibilities of what can go wrong. And if you do that enough, you'll come up with enough reasons not to do it at all. Because taking action isn't doing a spreadsheet. Taking action isn't listening to a podcast. Taking action is not reading a book, okay? Taking action is actually taking action. And that's why when we came up with a phrase to describe QLA, we borrowed Nike's. They say, just do it. Engineer, an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, a scientist, a computer, a PhD, etc. You have learned to study and to take action in a certain fact pattern, okay? And that fact pattern is not a gunslinger like at the OK Corral pulling his gun and shooting, okay? That is, well, how's the wind coming? Is the sun at my back or is the sun at his back? How many of them are there on their side? How many? You go through all these permutations. When a good entrepreneur makes decisions a lot based on his gut. Work hard. I don't know any other thing than hard work. And hard work is out of favor now. It just is. And I don't see any way around that. The only people that believe in hard work are people that, not the only, that's an exaggeration, but most of the people that still believe in hard work are people that I produced. I'm working every day. at least 100 hours a week. So, i.e., that's just the norm for me. Then I went into the military, and the military doesn't, well, now it does, but when I was in the military 50 years ago, they don't keep track of their hours. There's no such a thing as overtime. You just work until the job gets done. And so I just worked hard, and I always have. And even though I've been telling people for the last maybe 10 years, I work 50, 60 hours a week, my wife did a calculation. She's a chartered accountant here in the UK. And I really still work 80, 90 hours a week, and not 50, 60. But 50, 60 sounds more plausible for a guy that's supposed to be retired. And so I just work hard, I always have. But I don't call it work. It's my passion. Although I underestimated tremendously how hard it is to pull the assholes across the goal line, I just, I didn't understand. I thought that they equated hard work creates wealth. I didn't think that reading books created wealth, or I didn't think they thought that. As an aside, today, the kids, and I've had kids less than 20 years old come to me that have read 700 books. I didn't know there was 700 books on personal development. I'm not a personal development guy, first of all, but so I've just always worked long, long hours. But it's not work to me. When I go home, I'll take a nap on the car when we drive back to Guthrie. I'll have something to eat, and I'll probably be up to 1 or 2 o'clock, not working, but reviewing my mentees' business papers. And 1 hour a night, my wife and I spend, it's normally about midnight-ish, 11, 11:30, 12. We watch an hour of TV. We watch some program. We like The Big Bang. We like NCIS. And although we have Netflix and all those things, we've never used them. I'm not sure we know how to turn them on. But we have all of the hocus pocus that you can get now. And we watch TV. My wife has a glass of wine. I don't drink when I'm at home. And then I go to sleep, and I get up, and I start all over again. So the work ethic comes from my dad. Jim Ryan, arguably the greatest miler that ever lived without winning an Olympic gold medal. He fell down in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. He told me, 45 years ago, motivation gets you started, Dan. Good habits keep you going. And most of the kids today don't have good habits. They have habits that unfortunately they've attained through watching their parents, and their parents are not trained to build and help young people, their kids, become high-performance people. One, they're not high performance. Two, it's easy to have kids. It's a bitch to raise them, and most people fail at that. And most people, and I've got lectures on this, most people have kids for all the wrong reasons. Most people get married for all the wrong reasons. Most people stay in relationships for all the wrong reasons, et cetera, et cetera. Well, when you have a pattern of all the wrong reasons to do almost everything you do in life, then your life turns out to be, a snowball in hell. I mean, it doesn't work out too well.
This is find something you love, find something that can change 1 billion lives. Zuckerberg is a classic example. He changed more than 1 billion lives.
Added value.
Correct. Added value change, you make 1 billion lives better, potentially. You may not get to 1 billion people, but potentially you can make 1 billion lives better, and the odds have just gone geometrically up for you to become a billionaire. And if not a billionaire, a whole bunch of money. There's going to be 6 billion cell phones sold between now and 2030. 6 billion more cell phones. There's going to be third world countries are going to grow their consumption of Coca-Cola, soft drinks, and that kind of stuff by 1,000% between now and 2030. I can go down a whole list of things, but you're not working on any of those. If any of you speak French and are black, go to Haiti. They have nothing. If any of you speak Spanish, if Trump doesn't drop the trigger on Cuba, go to Cuba. They have nothing. Sally and I were just there.